I put the phone face down and never picked it up again. Something shifted in the room that Tuesday night. She was talking, but her words had lost their weight. I watched the candle dying on the kitchen shelf and realized I'd been translating myself for years. Every answer I had given fed a hunger I couldn't fill. Every reason I laid open left me standing smaller still. That was the night I stopped talking, let the silence take the chair. No more proving what they should have seen, no more bleeding just to make it clear. That was the night I stopped talking, and nobody heard me louder. I folded every argument I used to keep inside the drawer beside my watch and keys. Poured a glass and let the midnight settle in, like an old friend who never asked where I had been. That was the night I stopped talking, let the quiet hold the floor. No more opening what they'd never read, no more knocking on a bolted door. That was the night I stopped talking, and the room got very still. The ice moved slowly in the glass, the city breathed outside the window. Explaining who I was to people who preferred the version they made up. Now I keep my answers folded in my coat and let the silence say what words could not. That was the night I stopped talking, and everything I lost came back. Not as people, not as promises, but as peace I didn't have to ask. I turned the kitchen light off, walked the hallway to the dark, left my explanations on the table, like a tip I'd overpaid. took them 14 days to realize I wasn't fighting anymore. She kept sending messages that needed answers. He kept testing boundaries I used to guard. My mother called on Sunday like she always does, and paused because the silence felt too hard. They were so used to hearing me defend my ground that when I stopped they thought the line went down. They didn't notice for weeks that the man who always answered had gone quiet. They didn't notice for weeks that the fire they kept poking wasn't lit. They looked for smoke where I used to burn and found a room already closed and clean. My brother asked if something happened at the job. A friend said maybe I should talk to someone soon. But no one asked the only question that was real: what made him stop explaining to the room? They didn't notice for weeks that the voice they took for granted disappeared. They didn't notice for weeks that the man had simply chosen not to speak. They kept expecting thunder from the storm, but the sky was calm and I was gone. The bartender noticed first. He always does. It's not that I was hiding or protecting who I am. I just got tired of translating what was obvious to any honest man. The ones who needed proof were never going to believe, and the ones who always knew me never needed me to speak. They didn't notice for weeks, and by the time they did, the door had closed. Not with anger, not with ceremony, just a quiet click they should have heard before. I finished my drink alone at Friday night and left before the band played their second set. Nobody waved. They told me everything.
Mm-hmm.
to practice what I'd say before I walked into the room. Standing at the mirror, fixing every word, making sure my reasons sounded clean enough to serve. I'd build a case like lawyers do before the bench, defending choices that were mine and mine alone to make. What kind of man rehearses being understood by people who decided long before he stood? I used to rehearse my reasons like a man on trial for living his own life. I used to carry evidence of who I am. Now I walk in empty-handed, and I'm twice the man. I remember sitting in the car for 20 minutes, organizing sentences that no one asked to hear. She was already angry before I said a word. The verdict came before the opening was heard. I used to rehearse my reasons, polish every silence till it shined like proof. I used to bring the receipts for every breath I took. Now the only man I answer to is looking back at me. The mirror doesn't argue, that's why I trust it now. You either see me or you don't, and both of those are fine. I'm done performing honesty for people wasting time. I don't rehearse my reasons, I don't translate who I am. If the room can't read the silence, then the room was never worth the man. I straighten my collar, walk past the mirror without stopping. First time in years, it felt like breathing. She was still talking when I realized I had nothing left to prove. Her hands were moving like they always do when she gets loud, pointing at the places where she thought my armor cracked. I watched her mouth, but something disconnected in my chest, like a wire finally pulled from a machine that never rests. It wasn't anger and it wasn't giving up. It was the quiet recognition I had said enough. The conversation ended mid-sentence, not with a door, but with a breath I didn't take. She kept going like the audience was full, but the only man who listened had already walked away inside his own mind, where explanations go to die. I picked my keys up from the counter by the door, button my coat the way I do when I am done. She said, I never fight for what I want. I thought that's funny coming from someone who never asked. The conversation ended mid-sentence, not with a fight, but with a truth I wouldn't chase. I let a version of the story have the room, and took my real one somewhere it would be safe, somewhere quiet, where I didn't have to perform. The elevator took 11 seconds, longest silence of the year, and it healed me. Some people need a war to feel like love is real. I need a man in my mirror I can recognize and feel. The conversation ended mid-sentence, and I never went back to finish what I'd said. Not because the words weren't true, but because the man who needed her to hear them finally didn't. I drove home with the windows down, November air on my face, no music, just the sound of a man who stopped explaining. I learned to talk before I learned to walk, but silence took me 40 years. My father said a man explains himself with dignity. My mother said if they don't ask, then something's wrong. I grew up thinking clarity was kindness, that every silence was a bridge I hadn't drawn. Nobody told me that the clearest thing a man can do is let the room sit with the truth he didn't have to prove. Silence wasn't my first language. I had to lose a lot of words to find it. Had to watch 100 honest answers hit the floor before I understood that no one picks them up. Silence wasn't my first language, but it's the only one that saved me. I explained myself through 2 marriages and 1 career, through friendships built on my ability to make things clear. I was the man who always had the right response, until the night I realized the room preferred the performance. Silence wasn't my first language. I had to unlearn every reflex to defend. Had to sit through accusations I could disprove in seconds, and choose to let them stand. Silence wasn't my first language, but it became my mother tongue. The hardest language to learn is the one with no words. Not because I'm scared or cold or running from the truth, but because a man who knows himself doesn't need a translator in the room. Silence wasn't my first language, but it's where I found the man I was supposed to be. Behind all the explanations and the endless need to prove, there was someone waiting quietly, who only needed me to stop. I closed the ledger on a Tuesday. No ceremony, just a man who finally spoke by saying absolutely nothing. There's a man at the end of the bar who never asked me what went wrong. He just nodded when I sat down on a Thursday, pushed the ashtray closer like he'd done 100 times. We watched the game without a single word between us, and that hour healed me more than 7 years of trying. The world is full of people who demand your explanation, but the ones worth keeping never need the presentation. The ones who stay never needed words. They read the weight before I named it. They saw the coat, the tired eyes, the slower step. Never made me feel like I owed them anything. The ones who stayed never needed words. They just stayed. My daughter called last Sunday, didn't ask me why I'm quiet. She talked about her garden and the rain they had last week. And somewhere in between the roses and the silence, I realized she learned the thing I took a lifetime not to speak. The ones who stayed never needed words. They heard the truth beneath the ordinary. They didn't chase me when I disappeared for months. They left a chair and kept it warm, and never asked me where I went. The ones who stayed never needed words, and that's exactly why they're here. He ordered me another drink without asking. That's the whole language right there. Defending myself to juries I had never chosen, and all along the people who believed me were sitting quiet, waiting for me to stop performing. The ones who stayed never needed words, and I almost miss them, trying to convince the rest. The greatest cost of all those explanations was the time I stole from people who already passed the test. I left the bar at midnight. He didn't say goodbye, just raised his glass an inch, and that was everything. told her friends I turned into a stranger overnight. Her sister called me selfish on a Monday afternoon. Her mother said I used to be the kind of man who tried. The group chat had a version of me I never met, a quiet villain built from things I never said. They needed someone cold to make the story work, so they turned my silence into something it was not. She called it cold, like a man who stops explaining, has a frozen heart. She called it cold, like choosing peace was choosing to fall apart. But the warmest thing I ever did was stop setting myself on fire to keep a version of me warm. I heard the words through walls I wasn't meant to hear, controlling, distant, empty, unavailable and hard. And every label landed on a man who simply chose to stop performing honesty for someone keeping score. She called it cold, like dignity was something I should apologize for. She called it cold, like a man who holds his tongue has lost his soul. But the coldest thing in that apartment was the space between her expectation and the man I actually was. She wanted the version who explained, not the one who finally understood himself. But leaving and refusing are two different kinds of door. One is running from the fire, the other is not feeding it anymore. She called it cold, and maybe from where she stood it looked that way. But from where I'm sitting with my glass and this old coat, it was the warmest act of mercy I had left to give, to stop explaining love to someone who only heard the argument. I saw her name on my phone last Thursday, watched it ring 6 times. Then the screen went dark, and so did the last conversation I'll never have. She told her friends I turned into a stranger overnight.
The less I said, the bigger the story got. They gave me motives I had never carried, built a character from every room I left too soon. Someone said I had another woman somewhere waiting. Someone said I'd crack beneath the pressure of the moon. A quiet man becomes a canvas for the desperate. They paint you loud when you refuse to fill the frame. They built a man I never was, from every word I chose to keep inside my chest. They built a man I never was, with villain's teeth and a traitor's breath. And the only thing that man had in common with me was a face they recognized, and a silence they couldn't read. My colleague told the office I was going through a phase. The neighbor told his wife I'd probably lost my faith. A man who stops defending his own name in public becomes whatever fear the crowd needs him to be. They built a man I never was, gave him reasons I had never owned. They built a man I never was, and watched him walk through halls I'd never known. And somewhere in that fiction lived the proof that silence costs you reputation, but saves you something truer than the room. The funniest part, they argued about a man who wasn't even listening. Across the table like a surgeon with a blade. But the man who needs the room to know his truth is still performing for the room. And I retired from that stage. They built a man I never was, and I let them keep him like a souvenir, because the man I actually am doesn't live inside their conversation. He lives here in this coat, at this table, in this quiet. The story made its way around 3 neighborhoods. By December it had grandchildren. I drank my coffee and I let it grow. Some fiction dies faster when you stop correcting it. carried 40 years of proof that no one ever asked to see. Report cards in a box beneath the bed my father kept, letters I had written to explain why I was late, receipts of every promise that I honored to the cent, and no one ever opened that manila envelope. I was building a defense for a trial that never came, preparing my own testimony for a court that didn't know my name. 40 years of evidence stacked in drawers and folded in my mind. 40 years of evidence that the man I was had nothing left to hide. And the jury I imagined never showed up, never cared, never existed outside my need to be prepared. I kept the voicemail where she said I wasn't good enough, saved it like a lawyer saves the weapon from the scene. I memorized the dates of every accusation thrown, as if remembering would prove I wasn't what they said I'd been. 40 years of evidence, and not a single witness I could trust. 40 years of evidence gathered for a world that never asked. And the night I threw it all away was the night the real trial ended, and the judge inside my chest finally let the man go free. The box went into the dumpster on a Wednesday. It weighed less than I expected, so did the next morning. It's the weight of explanations he prepared but never tossed. Every argument rehearsed at 3 a.m. against the ceiling. Every answer polished for a question no one's asking anymore. That weight doesn't bruise you on the outside, it just bends your back so slowly you forget you're standing crooked. 40 years of evidence, and the only verdict that mattered was mine. I looked at every file I kept, every defense I built against the world, and realized the man inside that evidence had been free this whole time. He just didn't know it yet. I poured a drink on the fire escape that Wednesday night, watched the city glow beneath me like a courtroom with no walls, and I rested my case against nobody. For the first time in my life, left a space at the table where my apology should sit. Thanksgiving dinner in a chair that faced the door. My sister set a plate for me beside the ones who came. The empty seat was meant to say, you know where you belong. But the silence that I sent was louder than the grace. They wanted me to walk back in and say that I was wrong for choosing not to play a part in someone else's song. The apology I never owed still echoes in a house I used to know. The apology I never owed became the only word they want to hear me show. But a man who says he's sorry for his silence is a man apologizing for becoming whole. My brother left a voicemail on a Sunday after church. Said the family thinks I've changed and not the better kind. I listened to it twice and set the phone beside my keys. Then I drove to the old diner where nobody speaks my name. The apology I never owed sits heavy in the rooms I chose to leave. The apology I never owed is the door they think I locked but never keyed. Because I didn't lock them out, I just stopped leaving myself open for people who confuse my kindness with compliance. The empty chair at Thanksgiving spoke more than I ever did. At that table, there's a difference between a man who's sorry and a man who simply isn't wrong. One bends to keep the table set, the other builds a table of his own. I didn't leave because I stopped caring. I left because the care was only moving one direction. And a man gets tired of being the only current in the river. The apology I never owed is the freedom I finally gave myself. Not with pride and not with anger, just a quiet understanding that the man who stops explaining himself doesn't know the room, a curtain call. I ordered eggs at the old diner on Route 9. The waitress didn't know my story, didn't know my family. She just poured the coffee, and that was the most honest kindness I had felt in years. said nothing was the morning. Everybody heard me. Started like it always does on Monday. 6 voices filling air with sentences that meant the same. I had my folder open and my argument prepared, but something told me close it and just let the table wait. I watched them look at where my words were supposed to land. For the first time saw the power of an empty hand. Louder than anything I ever said was the morning I refused to speak. Louder than anything I ever said was the space I left between their questions and my peace. They leaned in closer, trying to hear the man who finally understood that presence doesn't need a microphone. She texted me at noon, asking if everything was fine. My partner called to check if I was angry or upset. The whole world moved an inch toward me that afternoon, because the man who always answered left a gap they couldn't forget. Louder than anything I ever said was the quiet I wore like my best suit. Louder than anything I ever said was the look that told the room I had the truth. But I wasn't selling it anymore, not at that price, not to that crowd. She said my silence was intimidating. I thought that's a strange word for peace. Decades raising my voice to be understood, sharpening my words until they cut through every wall. And the irony that keeps me warm on nights like this is that the loudest thing I've done is nothing at all. Not nothing out of weakness, nothing as architecture. A room built from restraint, where only the honest ones can breathe. Oh, louder than anything I ever said is the man who sits here now in this old chair. No defense prepared, no opening statement, just a glass of bourbon and a man who learned the hardest language in the world and speaks it fluently by keeping still. The meeting ended 20 minutes early. No one could explain why. I could, but I didn't. But I didn't. buried the man who needed to be understood. On a regular Tuesday in March, no ceremony and no flowers by the door, just a quiet recognition in the bathroom after work. The man who always had an answer ready in his throat looked back at me one final time and buttoned up his coat. He wasn't a bad man, he was just an exhausted one who spent his whole life proving he was worth the air he breathed to everyone. The old version died on a Tuesday, between the second coffee and the drive back home. The old version died on a Tuesday. Nobody sent condolences because nobody knows that the man they see today is someone they've never actually met. He just wears the same face and sits in the same chair. I kept a few things from the man I used to be: his discipline, his loyalty, his way of reading rooms. But the reflex to explain and the hunger to be seen, I folded those like napkins and I left them on the table clean. Version died on a Tuesday, in the middle of a life that looked the same from outside. The old version died on a Tuesday, and the new one didn't announce himself or try. He just showed up the next morning, drank his coffee without defending why he chose black, and no one noticed the revolution, because revolutions built from silence make no sound. The old version would have explained this song. The new one just lets you sit with it. Inside this skin, he did his best with what he knew and what he'd been, but he was running on a fuel that burns a man alive, the desperate need to be believed by every pair of eyes. And when that fuel ran out somewhere between the years, the engine didn't stop, it just switched to something quieter, something that runs on nothing but itself. The old version died on a Tuesday, and the man who took his place doesn't introduce himself to strangers, doesn't justify his taste, doesn't rehearse his reasons in the mirror anymore. He just lives quietly, completely, like a man who found the door and walked through it without without looking back. I drove past the old apartment building last September. The lights were on in someone else's window now. I didn't slow down. The man who lived there doesn't exist anymore. And the one behind the wheel never needed that address. She knocked on a door that doesn't open. From the outside anymore. Three years of nothing and a text at 2 a.m. saying I've been thinking and I finally understand. She used the words I used to beg her to believe, delivered them like gift to someone still in need. But the man who needed hearing isn't standing at this bar. He left the building long before she found out where we are. They came back looking for the man they left, with apologies addressed to someone else's chest. They came back looking for the man they left, but the forwarding address expired and the mailbox is at rest. The man they want to reconcile with died on a Tuesday 3 Marches ago, and the one who took his name doesn't collect that kind of debt. My brother called in August, said he talked it through with Mom. Said the family wants to try again if I would meet them halfway there. I almost laughed because the halfway point he's offering is the exact same floor where I spent decades crawling toward their chair. They came back looking for the man they left, with the same conditions wrapped in softer string. They came back looking for the man they left, and couldn't understand why nothing here still rings. Because the phone that used to answer belongs to someone who discovered that silence is a country with its own citizenship. She brought flowers to a man who learned to grow his own garden. By staying gone, and I don't reward them by coming back. The door isn't locked out of anger, it's just built for a different kind of man. One who enters and leaves on his own time, not on the schedule of whoever feels ready to finally hear what he stopped saying years ago. They came back looking for the man they left, and found a stranger with familiar eyes, who smiled and wished them well, and meant it genuinely, but didn't move his coat, didn't offer them the chair, didn't open the ledger to explain where he'd been or why he'd changed, because the man they left would have done all of that, and the man who stayed knows better. I watched her walk back to the parking lot from the window. She looked up once. I didn't step away from the glass, I didn't wave, I just stood there, being the man she never stayed long enough to meet. I forgave her on a Thursday, and she'll never know. It wasn't in a letter, wasn't in a call, wasn't in a conversation in a hallway or a hall. It happened at a traffic light on Jefferson and 3rd. I was thinking about dinner when the weight just left my word. No declaration, no dramatic letting go, just a man whose chest got lighter in the middle of the road. I forgave them without telling them. Didn't need a witness or a stage. I forgave them without telling them. Let it go like smoke through an open page, because forgiveness isn't something you deliver, it's something you release. When the man who holds the grudge realizes the grudge is holding him. My father died believing I was still upset about a conversation we had 30 years before. He never knew I let it go. One summer in my car, while listening to a song that didn't even match the scar, I forgave them without telling them. Didn't wait for sorry, didn't need the scene. I forgave them without telling them, the way a river moves without asking what it means. And the people I released will spend another decade wondering when I'll come around. While I've been around since Tuesday, they just can't hear a man who doesn't make a sound. The traffic light turned green, and 40 years of wait stayed at the intersection.
they never understand about a quiet man. Forgiveness doesn't need an audience to land. It doesn't need a hug, a handshake, or a tear. It needs a man alone inside a car who suddenly can breathe without the thing he used to fear. And the cruelest part for everyone involved is that the peace came free, and nobody was there to see me finally receive it. I forgave them without telling them, and that's the part that haunts a room I'll never visit. Not the anger, not the years apart, but the quiet fact that somewhere on a Thursday, a man let go of everything they thought he held and kept on driving, like a man who found the highway after 40 years of side streets. I pulled into the driveway, turned the engine off, sat there for 11 minutes, not sad, not happy. Just a man with an empty chest, and the whole evening ahead of him for the first time.
They started telling the truth about each other the night I stopped being the subject. I heard it secondhand from someone at the shop, that after I stopped coming to the Sunday afternoon, the table turned its knives on different plates, and suddenly the people who judged me had some explaining of their own to do. Funny how a quiet man becomes the glue that holds the room's attention off what they never want of you. The room got honest when I left, without my silence there to fill the conversation. The room got honest when I left, and all the people who had questions for my life started answering their own, and the answers weren't as clean as the ones they used to demand from me. My cousin's marriage fell apart by the following July. The friend who called me distant moved 3 states away without goodbye. The sister who said family means showing up and being present stopped showing up in September and hasn't been present since. The room got honest when I left. The mirror I was holding faced the other way. The room got honest when I left, and every judge became a defendant on the same day. out I wasn't the problem in the photograph. I was just the only one who stood still long enough to take the blame. They needed a quiet man to point at. When the quiet man left, they pointed at each other.
And I don't pretend I didn't feel the validation in my spine. But a man who stopped explaining himself doesn't gloat.
He just takes a long sip and lets the evening do the talking, because the truth has always been an honest worker. It just needed me to step aside so it could clock in.
The room got honest when I left, and I wasn't there to see it,
which is exactly how it should be,
because the man who needs to watch the room collapse
is still performing for the room. And I don't do that anymore. I just live my quiet life and let the dominoes fall in rooms I've already left. The barber told me everything in February, between the second and third pass of the razor. I didn't ask for details, he gave them anyway. And I tipped him well for the only honest conversation I'd had in months. A man at the gas station asked me if I was doing all right. And I said yes, and meant it for the first time. There's a version of me living in my ex-wife's memory that's bitter and unavailable and scared of being known. There's another one inside my mother's Sunday prayers that's lost and needs direction and is surely all alone. And somewhere between those two invented men, the real one stands at a gas station pump, pumping regular unleaded and feeling genuinely fine. I don't correct them anymore. Let every wrong opinion find its shelf. I don't correct them anymore, because the man who knows himself doesn't need the world to pass the test. He just fills his tank, drives west, and lets the sunset do the rest. My therapist once said the need to be correctly seen is the last addiction a controlled man has to break. I laughed because she charged me $200 for a sentence I already knew but couldn't say without it sounding like escape. I don't fix the record when it skips my name. I don't correct them anymore, because correction is a younger man's game. And the man behind this wheel tonight has enough road ahead to stop caring about the road behind. She was right about the addiction, wrong about the 200. That sentence was worth every cent. Freedom isn't a mountain, or a moment, or a speech. It's a Tuesday at a gas station where nobody knows your grief, and you realize the weight you carried wasn't grief at all. It was the exhausting occupation of being understood by people who never had the patience to understand anything but themselves. I don't correct them anymore, and the highway never asked me to explain. I don't correct them anymore, and the windshield only shows what's still ahead, not the rear view full of people arguing about a man who's 300 miles away, singing something quiet to himself. I stopped at a motel outside of nowhere particular. The woman at the front desk gave me a key, didn't ask my name. Room 12. Clean sheets, no history, no explanations required. Just a bed and a man who finally doesn't need the world to see him sleeping. They didn't lose a man who argued. They lost the only one who cared enough to try. I was the one who called on birthdays, not because I had to, but because I memorized the dates when no one asked. I was the man who showed up early to the funerals and stayed until the family finished crying in the back. They think they lost a voice inside the room, but voices can be replaced. What can't be replaced is a man who meant every word he used to say. What they lost when I went quiet wasn't noise, it was intention. What they lost when I went quiet was the man who paid attention to the details that nobody noticed. The coat, the drink, the look across the room, the birthday card, the Thursday call, the ride home in the rain. They didn't lose an argument, they lost the man behind the effort.
And the effort was the love, and the love was never loud. It just showed up. I fixed the kitchen sink at my brother's house in April. He said thanks like someone paying for a service he expected. I drove my mother home from surgery on a weekday, and she called my sister first to say how blessed she was. What they lost when I went quiet wasn't temper, wasn't drama. What they lost when I went quiet was the infrastructure of a man who never asked for credit. The engine underneath the car they drove without inspection. And when the engine finally stopped, they didn't hear the silence. They just felt the car stop moving and wondered what went wrong. They'll figure it out eventually. Some already have, some never will. Both of those are fine now. Stand around confused like the lights went out in a building they assumed was automatic, not knowing there was someone in the basement flipping every switch by hand every single day without a single thank you, without a single explanation asked. What they lost when I went quiet is something they won't find at any other table. Not the words, not the anger, not the fight, but the man who kept the family in orbit. Without asking to be the sun, he just burned consistently. And when he finally dimmed, they noticed the dark for the first time and called it his fault. I keep a photograph inside the glove box, not of them, of me. At 32, still trying, still explaining, still believing the next answer would be enough. I keep it there to remind the man behind the wheel how far he drove to finally stop arriving at places that never deserved the trip.
The bartender closed the tab without asking if he wanted one more. The rain came down on Michigan Avenue like it always does. A man walked out beneath the awning and adjusted his coat. He didn't check his phone or look for anyone approaching. He just stood there like a sentence that already had its close. The city moved around him like a river parts a stone, and the stone was not resisting, it was simply standing on its own. He never explained, that explained everything. The way he held the door for strangers, but never asked for things. The way he left the conversation before it needed saving. The way he loved with actions so consistent they became invisible. He never explained, and the people who understood him never needed him to. There's a ledger in his pocket with no names, just observations. A window-seated table 9 that holds a shape like memory. The saxophone from somewhere in the building plays a minor key, and the night agrees to keep his story where it's always been. He never explained, that explained everything. The way he drove through rain without turning on the radio. The way he sat alone without performing loneliness. The way he disappeared from rooms that couldn't hold a man, who refused to shrink his silence into something comfortable. He never explained, and the night took note, the way nights always do. When a man decides to stop translating himself for a world that only speaks in noise, the empty glass, the folded napkin, the chair pushed in. A man was here, and now he isn't, and the room remembered. Somewhere in Chicago, a man is walking home alone tonight. Not because the world abandoned him, but because he finally stopped.
Abandoning himself,
Abandoning himself
for the privilege of being.
misunderstood in company
He chose a coat
and a quiet street
over a crowded room.
and a performance. And the street accepted him
Without conditions,
without conditions,
without questions,
without a single explanation required. He never explained, and that explained everything. The strength wasn't in the leaving, it was in the years he stayed and tried. The wisdom wasn't in the silence, it was in knowing which words deserved his voice and which ones deserved his absence. He never explained, not because he couldn't, but because the man he became only speaks to rooms that listen. And tonight the only room that qualifies is the one between his chest and the rain. He buttoned his coat at the collar,
stepped off the curb
into the wet street.
The city refused reflected in the puddles.
Like a question he didn't answer,
He walked north
toward nothing in particular, and everything he'd ever needed. The ledger stayed closed,
the night stayed honest,
and the man who stopped explaining himself became the only explanation the city ever needed.